Hello, everyone, and welcome to a Tuesday edition of, yes, you got it right, the MSP Initiative Live. It is February 1st, and look at that right before your eyes. A month of the year is behind us, and we are already well into 2022. Does that even make sense? Because, like, everybody's still discombobulated on the years, right? Like, 2020 didn't happen, and 2021 half happened, and we're in 2022, and there you are. Yes, you did age through that period. You did not freeze in time.
I did not.
How you doing today, Ken?
Man, I'm hanging in there, still got 2 feet of snow outside, not it's, everybody thinks it's pretty. I do not think it's pretty. I think it's a pain in the butt. But hanging in there, just trying to stay warm till I can get to some warm places.
Totally understand. Well, good news is hopefully some warm is coming. We'll do some quick housekeeping and then we'll talk about the rest. So, of course, some housekeeping for everybody that may or may not frequent our show. This session and every other session we've ever recorded is under mspinitiative.com under sessions. You have it in podcast format. Podcast format. You have it in video format. Pick whichever one is your favorite. We are soon to post our quarterly giveaway. It's not quite up yet, but we'll let you know when it's ready to go, of our friendly sponsors who are literally trying to hook you up with some free stuff. We have our MSP community block party coming up in 20 days, 4 hours, 58 minutes, and 3 seconds, if it's correct. But yes, coming up on Monday, I believe February 21, we will be hosting our first MSP community block party of the year. And it just seems like we were at IT Nation like last week, and we were doing exactly this with 1,500 of our closest friends. So in order to get to the MSP community block party, you need to get to Florida, particularly International Drive in Florida. And by the way, we definitely would want you to not just join our event, but also head down to Zero Trust World, hosted by ThreatLocker. And they have some pretty cool things that they're going to be doing there, including you're going to be getting all these gizmos and gadgets as part of your welcome bag, which gives you the ability to do some stuff that probably don't want to do on an airplane. I actually recorded a session with Danny Jenkins about what you can expect at the event, but some real world lab experience on how to get into somebody's computer, how to get into somebody's cell phone, how to get into somebody's Wi-Fi. These are all things that you don't want to do in a malicious way, but you'll learn that it's not as hard as you would think. So Zero Trust World, go to zerotrustworld.threatlocker.com. And lastly, our friends at Nerdio, should you be wanting to go real warm, you could possibly still be able to jump into NerdioCon. And so we also recorded a session with our friend Joseph Landis from Nerdio to explain what you would expect at their event. First time that I can remember that somebody's done a conference in Cancun. But hey, Ken, have you ever heard of anyone doing an event in Cancun?
No, other than their own, President's Club or stuff like that. No.
Okay, so first one that I can remember, maybe Ken can remember. So if you're interested in getting out of the country and you understand what's involved with all of that in terms of getting back, definitely check this out. Otherwise, I know it's probably not the best planning, and these guys probably didn't talk about it beforehand. Zero Trust World and NerdioCon are happening on the exact same dates. So either way, it may be warmer than where you're at, maybe. So pick one, possibly. But we'll be at Zero Trust World, and we'll obviously be doing our first MSP community block party, and we would love to see you. So that is all of the quick housekeeping. Keith already starts up and says, I do not trust NFL officiating. Will they ever cover will they cover that at Zero Trust? No, I do not think they'll be covering that at Zero Trust. Hope Ken and George
don't say the word zero. The word zero will trigger Keith, because that's what he's complaining about, is the fact that the clock went down to 0 and they didn't delay a game a whole bunch of times during that game.
Yeah, I can understand why. And he said, I hope Ken and George will not be wearing grass skirts in Cancun. Neither Ken nor George will be at Cancun. We love,
I'm wearing a grass skirt right now, so hey.
but the grass skirt can be arranged. So I mean, Keith, if that's what you're looking for, we can surely make that happen.
You might want to hope that the weeds are a little thicker in certain areas, but anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah. So anyway, that is all of the housekeeping, if you would, and we get into normal time. So Ken, I think last week, I don't know if you had a chance to get there, but your company put on their most recent version of what's happening with Microsoft and CE. I know you're tired of hearing those three letters in that order. Anything new worthwhile?
Not off the top of my head, no. I would just say the same thing I've been saying. Follow the story. They change the blog every day or two. They update it if there's any changes happening. We did see that Microsoft has made comments in a number of different news stories about possible changes, but there's just nothing new right now that's updated from that.
Got it. So the blog is what's the URL for that again, Ken? Just so everybody knows.
Oh, sure. Put me on the spot.
Yeah, I just want to make sure everybody knows where to go find it because it's public, right? You don't have to be a PAX8 partner to
Right.
go check it out.
Right. Let me just.
Give him a second, guys. Just want to make sure we're finding it in the right place.
Gotta find the right place, and I have 17,000 tabs open right now. So hold on.
That Surface Book holds 17,000 tabs. I don't believe it. I don't.
Yeah, this thing is. I'll tell you what, it really is. You're right.
It's the stark upgrade from your last computer.
It's the genuine article. I definitely don't have. For instance, when we're doing maps, when I'm looking at the video, the overhead of buildings, when I'm trying to map out the locations, when we're doing location sciences, no longer does it lock up on me and tell me Google's the problem.
Location science. We should copyright that.
By the way, Darren, I have a 46-inch curved screen, so take your 40-incher and.
But he has way more Chick-fil-A points.
Well, that's not even a question. He has more than you. He has more than me.
Yes, I mean, I guess he could say he has more than both of us combined.
I would say
100% true. That would be a true story.
100% true. Sorry, I'm trying to find this. For some reason, it's not as
easy to see. That's why I asked, because nobody has this bookmarked, right?
I got it.
Ah, there it is.
It should have been as easy as me remembering it, but at the same time, my brain is fried. So post that right here.
It's only Tuesday, man.
Well, it's PAX8, PAX8.com normal blog /Microsoft CSP new commerce experience, right? So,
that's a lot.
Why didn't we just make it CSP NCE? I don't know.
Yes. Tip for somebody in marketing, easy URLs.
Well, it also might be that someone who doesn't get what NCE is yet, we have to spell it out. So it could be that too.
Maybe. Cool. So everybody who may want to get the latest and greatest, go there, and guess what? They're updating that regularly, and that way you know what's happening. Right now, from what I gather, we're still on track for June. And so at some point, if nothing changes, you're going to go to add, and they're going to say, oops, you need to switch. And then you will be on the brick wall kind of situation. So get ahead of that, make sure that you've talked to your customers, make sure that you figured out your plan, and hopefully still cross your fingers and hope for something different, but that's the going trend right now. And we'll keep on asking as long as Ken will keep on showing up to tell us.
I won't be here
Uh,
next week, so it'll give you a little bit of space.
Okay, you won't. Yeah, you're going to be busy on Tuesday next week. I hear.
Mission briefings next week.
Okay, mission briefings. That's a PAX8 thing, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if anybody wants to go hang out with Ken, you have to switch channels next week. Switch channels. So obviously, these two conferences are coming up. Good to get out in February, especially if you're in the cold weather towns like we are. I know you're still melting like 2 feet of snow up there, like you said. So I noticed that it's funny, your snowblower always breaks when you need it, right? So that happened to my brother. Actually, he called me. He's like, yeah, my snowblower broke, so I had to shovel everything. I was like, it wasn't that bad, not like Ken, but
Yeah.
I actually have a battery powered snowblower, right? They're like these two kind of like thickish batteries like this, and surprisingly works. That was one that the wife picked up, where she was like, that's it, let's stop arguing about shoveling snow and just get a snowblower. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So we both had the same argument about grass, but somebody comes to do that now. So didn't quite get the automatic grass cutting, the Roomba of your lawn. I always wondered though, Ken, if you drop the $3 or $4 grand on that, and then like somebody just like takes it, what do you get? Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Pick it up.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I have the.
But it's cool. It has a docking station.
Make sure it's locked up someplace.
Yeah.
That's a bit expensive.
It is.
I gave up on the lawn thing with the lawnmowers and the weed whackers and all the stuff that I had. And I was thinking about all the time it takes me just to get the stuff working half the time, and then actually doing the yard. And I'm like, you know what? It's just worth it to have somebody who has all that equipment come out and do it, because they're going to make it look better. And I don't have to spend all that time on it.
Yeah, I agree. No argument there. And that's kind of
And if there was a snow shoveling service, like, around like it used to be when we were kids, when I was a kid, that's all I did. Walked around with my shovel on my shoulder and made some money.
100%.
Don't get that no more.
Well, it was funny. I was driving down the street, and people do the good old fashioned lemonade, right? And like somebody had created out of wood pallets, like an entire stand, like not just a table. It was like a wooden shop on this side of the road. And I was like, I'm pretty sure once you get to that point, we're taking it past the point of
good.
It didn't look bad.
I was gonna say, you made it almost sound like our chicken wire food truck, but
the chicken wire food truck wasn't good. So like the fact
the food
that
was good, but the food was good. I had to get a tetanus shot after I got my chicken, but it was good.
Yeah. I wasn't at that one. I can't comment. I know Sade was there. I know she saw the metal box.
Yeah,
with the
she said the food was good. The food was really good.
Yeah, but it just looked very odd. It was like this metal grate, and then you saw like an Anderson window. It was like random. Yeah.
Well, the Anderson window is the only thing protecting you from the tetanus. So
I see. Okay. All good. She says no argument there. It looks super sketch. Okay. All right. You got it. Keith says, here we go. Someone actually followed my pond crew into my yard, said they wanted to see my koi, then asked the guy if they could take a few. I think the guy was from Philly. I can't take responsibility for everyone from this town. I can't.
Well, that's true, but Darren has a good point. If he was really from Philly, he would have just took the shit. He wouldn't have asked.
This is true. I agree, but I can't take responsibility for those people. Come on. Keith, I'll tell you a quick story. This was 2017, 2018, something like that. Took a direct flight from Philly to LA. And I literally no checked bags. By the way, if you're traveling a lot, you need to learn to not live on the checked bag. You need to narrow down your shoes and your clothes, and you just got to carry on. But anyway, so I roll out my carry-on bag in my backpack, and I'm on the corner. I'm trying to figure out how to get to this rental car place. And like the signs were a little bit confusing. So I started off at one spot where the bus should pick up. And I'm like, nope, that's not the right one. I went over here. Some dude rolls up undercover, shows me a badge, and was like, sheriff's department. And I was like, uh-huh. And he's like, you look suspicious. Where are you coming from? Where are you going? How did you get here? They started like literally it was like a minute of just like question. And I was like, are you done? Are you done now, sir? Okay. I look suspicious. If standing in line waiting for the bus is suspicious, and that's somehow a law here in California, I don't know about that in Philadelphia, where I come from. And by the way, how would you know that I'm from Philadelphia? I'm wearing a jacket that says Phillies. And I'm not sure anyone in LA would usually wear a jacket that would say Phillies. So chances are I'm from Philadelphia. And in Philadelphia, waiting at the bus stop, totally legal. So if I miss something, let me know. What's the problem? Walked away.
By the way, it's not just in California. You look suspicious everywhere, apparently.
Yeah. No.
Or is the word, as it has been termed now, vaguely ethnic?
Yeah. Thanks to our buddy, our pal, our fellow business traveler said that he may have figured it out. Not all the way this way, not all the way that way. They don't know. So they're just gonna stop me anyway. Okay. All right. Okay. Sade says, I will hold on. I gotta go in order. Sade says, I will say thanks to Bvoip, I've become a master on carry-ons. Now it's how I travel, work or not. Good. Save yourself a ton of money, a ton of aggravation and you'll probably never be stopped. But I love how it's like, sir, what do you have in your bag? I'm like, I don't know. Well, let's take a look. Okay. What's this? Well, it says Kodak. Camera? I don't know. Have you ever seen one before? Yeah, not good.
Kodak. What?
This was
this when you were traveling in 1989? What's going on?
No. This was like 2015, 16, when like it was still trendy to have a digital camera, not on your phone. But yeah, guy was going through my bag and I'm like, I'm not gonna do this, right? You want to check the bag? Check the bag. We don't have to play what's in the bag. So Keith says that's why I use a car service. Well, Keith, car services are for my employees. I only get limited.
That was a direct shot at Captain Bougie. Okay.
So that there's an inside story. But I'm sure Keith is just cracking up over there while he's smoking his cigar. He says, Ken, there's a difference between looking suspicious and looking guilty. Guilty of what? Standing at the line waiting for the bus. By the way, the end of that story goes, I showed up to the parking lot for the car rental, and they gave me a car with no gas in it. So like I'm immediately going to the gas station because like the car's on 0. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. Frank says, traveled the world in a 13-kilogram backpack. I don't know how you did that. That's impressive. I hope you wash your clothes frequently, maybe. But yeah. And once you get out of the US, they weigh that. Like I know people put they'll weigh your purse, they'll weigh your backpack, they'll like if you have a fanny pack, they'll weigh that. They literally want to know every ounce on that plane. It's crazy. But I'm sure we could talk about travel stories all day long, Ken. All day long. The reason I started
never have a problem. I get on, I get off. I'm everything works out perfectly.
Oh yeah, Pete, Mr. Former Military, he got stopped this morning. How about that? And then he wondered if I tipped TSA off ahead of time. I'm like, nah, man. They know. It's guilt by association. Guilty of what? Being next to the vaguely ethnic guy. Just repeating what's been said, not my terminology.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. Just until you have to travel with me, and then you're gonna know.
Yeah, I've never traveled with you.
Yeah. Well, we can change that.
We always end up at the wrong side of the airport. That's
No. That's not true. We've traveled together, but on a
No
bus.
kidding. It was a joke.
Oh, okay.
Sarcasm.
Just not on a plane.
What I'm saying is we always end up on the wrong side of the airport. If we're meeting at an airport, we're always on the opposite side. I don't know what it is. Unless you're picking me up in a car with a bunch of shady characters, then that's a whole other story.
I mean, that has also been arranged for sure. So no, there's a bunch of people out in Phoenix right now, right? Was it Evolve or HTG?
HTG Evolve, yeah.
Combination name there. Hope they're enjoying Phoenix. I heard that there's scorpions in the desert. Did you know about that, Ken?
Scorpions in the desert. I mean, I've heard about it. Don't know much about desert life.
They said, they said you should check your shoes before you put them on.
Another reason why I wouldn't live in the desert.
Yeah, but if you remember, my shoes melted when I was in the desert. You remember that story?
I do.
Yeah, real story, man. Don't leave your shoes out in the sun in the desert. Bad things can happen. Anyway, let's talk about some technology stuff because we do a technology show. How about that? So it's interesting, right? That these airlines continue to press on this 5G thing. And now they're canceling all of these international flights coming into the United States because Verizon, AT&T 5G. Not that I've traveled out of the country internationally since COVID hit, but I'm struggling to understand what the problem is and why, like, 5G has been around for a while and why this,
Sure it has.
why this is a problem all of a sudden.
I don't know. I don't think it was a problem before. I don't know that it's a problem now because I don't know too many people that actually have 5G. We've talked about this. We've gone down this road.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So stay tuned for 5G coming to ultra wideband, a city near you.
Hey, Captain Conspiracy says it's shocking to me that so many people believe in conspiracy theories.
Well, it is America. I mean,
well, this coming from Keith is an interesting shot. I think,
and since we're on the topic of America, I mean, how many conspiracy theories are there around America's team?
Here it comes. Wait for it.
Keith does say that the NFL is scripted.
Those are facts.
Like the WWE. So
the America's team didn't give enough money to get themselves somewhere since 1990, whatever it was.
5, yes. I don't know. That's just interesting that they did. It is interesting that they moved the team to LA, and that team is now in the Super Bowl in their own building.
Back-to-back years, 2 years in a row. We are
the only team to have won the Super Bowl in their own building is last year's Super Bowl champions.
Yep.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Never happened ever in the history of the NFL until 2021.
And now we're looking at a possible repeat of that.
So odd. I that is conspiracy, man. That's not right. You went through the entire league's history. Now it's happening. That is off. Hey, were you a fan of the Jack Reacher movies?
Yes.
Did you know that they just launched a Jack Reacher series on Amazon Prime?
I did see it, but I don't know the casting. They cast some giant guy. Someone knows who the guy is. My son knows who the guy is. I don't know who he is, but I'm like, what are you casting? Like a
there you go.
Yeah,
he's big.
Look at him. Jack Reacher is a small, regular guy.
No, but apparently, in the books or however it was came to, like, he's not small.
Really? I mean, you got Tom Cruise plays him, right?
That's why they said it didn't fit.
Yeah, it made, honestly. Listen, I grew up watching Schwarzenegger and Stallone and all these jacked guys and love that stuff, but I do like it a bit more when you're talking about a regular guy who just got trained right, who could do all this shit.
This guy right here is what, 5'5"? And like the guy over here is like a foot taller than him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch it.
Of course you are.
I'll let you know.
And
I'll
by
let
the
you
way,
know.
it's not that shocking that there's news of Wolverine popping up in Doctor Strange, because we've been talking about that for a
Dude,
while.
that
now.
was huge news this morning.
Been talking about it forever, though. It's
But
been
is
pushed.
it
It's been pushed.
real? Is it
I
real?
still don't know, but every comic book fanatic, are all saying the same thing, that Wolverine will more than likely be in Doctor Strange.
I mean, if the guy comes
And
back to do it,
did you also
that would
hear
be awesome.
the return of Iron Man, but not Robert Downey Jr.?
Yeah, Tom Cruise.
That doesn't even, that's another bad. I think that's another
a bad
horrible.
casting. Yeah, I got you.
But it's supposed to be. I knew he was supposed to come back as evil because I know the comic book story and all that stuff. But I thought it would be they just get Downey Jr. back and he was somehow screwed up. Instead, it's going to be from a different timeline, an evil Iron Man that learned how to control Ultron.
When Downey Jr. walked away, it looks like it was a hard walk away.
Right, but with all these timelines and crazy shit, you can bring anybody back.
Yeah, the multiverse, right?
Right, the multiverse changes everything. They can have so many different movies, so many different tracks.
Yeah, interesting.
Did you see the quick little trailer on the Knights of Kylo?
No.
The Knights of Kylo Ren. You know the knights that protect Kylo Ren?
Yeah,
There's a whole backstory on them. We don't know if it's a movie, like a Disney Plus quick movie, or if it's going to be a series. But there's a new trailer, if you look it up, called The Knights of Kylo Ren. And it looks legit. It doesn't look like one of these fake ones. It looks legit.
We'll have to go check that out. Keith just posted something interesting. He's like, he says, especially if the Rams are given 45 minutes to run each play. No comment?
Not gonna lie about that one.
He says, if you watch Iron Man in his penthouse scene, well, there's a lot of those. The lady doing the catering is my oldest daughter.
I did know that.
Is that right?
That's fact.
No.
There's a couple other facts. His daughters pop up places. Yes, Keith. Yes, Keith. Boom.
Wow. You learn something new every day. We should go into the television movie business. I mean, Gandolfini could do it.
What does that mean?
I'm just saying you can start later and still, do it.
A lot of people started later. Rodney Dangerfield started late.
Okay. All right. A little bit before my time.
We're more like Rodney.
I mean, I remember watching the movie where he goes back to school.
Yeah, called Back to School. Yeah.
Back to school. He said, you guys wouldn't make it. Trust me on that. Oof. Darren.
Darren, really? Yeah, okay.
Bricks.
Listen, we would crush Hollywood because we would just push them around. Believe me. We would be like Ray Donovan leaving the East Coast to go to the West Coast and just see what happens when that happens. That's what happens.
Okay. All right. Better watch out there, Darren. Think you did a coast switch. How'd that work out for you, pal? Crickets.
He was already soft anyways.
Hey, man, you like your Chick-fil-A soft. That's the only way it comes. Okay? Leave the guy alone. Okay. Another bit of useless trivia. The kid on the Lincoln log box is me pre-beard. I don't believe that. They would have had to taken that photo in like 1900. He said fact. All right.
Have you met Keith?
We're gonna have to go dig this box up.
Fact.
You can send it to us. Well,
another fact. Keith was around before electricity.
No. No. I mean, he was around during Tesla and who's the other guy? Edison and Tesla. Right? There's movies about this. I didn't make this stuff up. It's in the history books.
Yes.
All right. So as I'm stumbling around the internet, which is not hard to do, and all of the various forums, which there are many, I run into interesting things, as you would expect. One the other day was somebody saying, "Hey, I get credit, right? I get Azure Credit with my Microsoft Action Pack. You remember that thing? The thing they're trying to make go away that's still around? And the guy was like, yeah, I want to set up an RDS server in Azure. And I was like, but they already have something for this. It's called Virtual PC. Like Ken, I'm just telling you, man. And I know, you do all these boot camps and stuff, but there's just so many people that don't know how it works and don't understand how the whole cloud thing actually works on the Microsoft side.
Well, and some people are also looking for the free way to do it, right? Oh, I have my action pack. I'm going to set this up. I'm going to run it through here.
It is there. People ask all the time what they should do with it.
Right.
I mean, it's fair comment. It's I think it's $100 a month of credit, right?
Yes.
How much does $100 go?
Depends on what you're setting up, right?
Well, what have you seen people do with it?
I haven't. Honestly, I have not. For me personally, I don't. Most of the Azure folks that I deal with are much larger scale, like from that standpoint, just in general, like I don't hands-on specifically, I don't see a lot of the, I'm going to set up $100 Azure setup and be able to, use that piece of it. So I couldn't honestly speak to that.
Okay.
Not from and that's not a PAX8 thing. That's just I don't get to deal with everybody and all the Azure stuff as much as I maybe would like to, or maybe I wouldn't like to. I don't know. Maybe it would be too scary for me. I don't know.
I don't know. This one's an interesting one that popped up in one of the forums. By default now, Microsoft Teams users can now chat with Teams users from outside of their organization. This actually happened to me this week. Okay.
Really?
I got a message out of the blue from a past partner in the UK, and he's like, "Hey, it's been a while. It's been a couple of years." I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember you. What's going on?" He's like, "Yeah, I want to talk about, maybe coming back online with you guys." I was like, oh, "Okay, can we jump in a call?" Boom, right in a video call, and I was like, "Man, that was quick." Signed up, and I was like, I posted a blog last year where you can embed in your email signature your Teams address as a URL so that people can chat with you right from the link. This may become very interesting, although on a completely different flip side, the reason in the forum this guy posted this link is he thinks this is going to be the new spam.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. From a security standpoint, that doesn't sound great.
It literally, he's like, this is going to be the new spam. People are just going to start sending you junk.
I wonder if at your organizational level, it could be halted to just internal use.
I mean, it is a setting, right? Like,
yeah, that would be my guess.
But my point is, like, this is what I think this was the game. This was the idea from the beginning, right? If everybody's part of the system, you're just talking in network, right?
Well, I remember, I mean, what was it before Teams? What was the program before Teams that
Skype for Business?
The Skype, right. The Skype version of it. I remember thinking, why the hell can't we get people outside the organization in here? Why can't we, like, it was all these weird little things that you had to jump through hoops to make stuff work like that.
So already had a question. Great question, Brent. Can it be selectively turned on or turned off? Yep. Looks like you can. And looks like you can decide which users can and which users can't. Obviously, you have to go in as an admin and do that and toggle. And you can do it by PowerShell. And you can also do it from, like, literally the Teams UI. So that's good. But I think that there's a good business aspect. And to your point, maybe not so good business aspect.
Well, of course you think that. You just got a deal from it.
I did. It was great. The guy came out of left field. We talked. We closed. It was fantastic. Well, doesn't everybody wish it worked that way?
Yeah.
Inbound leads, man. Plus, it never hurts to have somebody come back. That's like the ultimate form of flattery, right? I left. I thought that there was grass is greener on the other side. I came back and it wasn't.
It's like your, Shaq in those General commercials.
The General. Whoever, I don't ever would want to buy insurance from the General. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but all those people that naysayed Shaq now came back to him.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they're clearly paying him. That's for sure. It was actually funny because on sports radio this morning, at least the Philadelphia version of sports radio, they were actually talking about like when they come out and they're like, oh, then this person's value or worth is, and somebody's like, oh, Shaq's worth 400 million. Guys like, way off, way more. It's way more valuable than 400 million. He's like, when they do those lists, right, of who has how much money, they never factor in their debt. I'm like, oh, that's a good point. Just factor how much money is on the gross, not the net. But I don't create those lists, so there it is. But yeah, teams wide open. And if it's, it sounds like you'd probably need to go and turn it off, because I think from how it reads is that they've turned it on and you actually have to go and flip the switch to go the other way. I could be wrong about that, but to your point, Ken, could be a little bit of a security nightmare. How many people have gotten text messages where people are trying to spoof the cell phone company or, hey, your bill's been paid. You're like,
oh my God.
Who are you?
You would think that AT&T would have a way to block it because it literally comes through and says AT&T message.
Yeah.
Right. Your bill's been paid. Here's a gift for you. Like,
yes.
And then, oh, wow, they're going to give me a gift for paying my bill. Click. No, like it's not going to be real, but they are paying. They do come through quite a bit too.
Yeah. So think about that, but just on the on the Teams chat, right? Coming just right up. So pay attention. Apparently it's out there. And yeah, Keith says the answer is simply do not pay your bills. Well, then you won't be getting any messages.
Right.
And Darren says, wish PAX8 would give me a gift for paying my bill. They do. Great company.
There you go. You get great service, just like you with your customers.
Exactly. Plus, I mean, how often do you there's not a Kenny P at every company.
Oh, that was nice, George.
Yeah. Like how often do you actually have somebody you can reach out and actually talk to without going through everybody and their mother not answering? And then maybe you get a hold of someone. I'm not pointing out any specific company. Could be the cable company. Actually, I always try and make, Ken knows this. When I answer the phone, I make fun, right? I'm like, oh, Walmart customer service. And somebody was like, why Walmart? I was like, do you really want to go to Walmart customer service? They're like, no. I'm like, okay, maybe there's a sign there. Maybe I'm trying to tell you something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another one that's popped up in the threads, right? Because again, people just talk all the time. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. I'm just going backwards to the one that I saw the other day that I thought was really good. That was the other one. The QR code can now be exploited.
Always could.
Right. So if you could, everybody's got used to what during COVID, right? You go to the restaurant, your bar,
right?
QR code, menu pops up. They're saying they can embed in the QR code where it's immediately doing stuff in the background.
Matt Lee already did it. Did you see where he proved it out?
Oh, what happened?
Had his wife walk into a restaurant. He did a whole video on it and basically laid a QR code in a couple of spots where it would just be, wide open. So people scan that QR code and it's boom. Now, apparently the best way to do the QR codes to make sure they're owned by whoever is that you put your logo in there, right? And I've been noticing actually since Matt Lee brought this up months ago, I've been noticing even locally, like the little places, their QR codes for Venmo now have their Saugus Youth Lacrosse, or you know what I mean? Like they have their actual benefit name inside the QR code. So it shows that it's from them, but I mean, it doesn't take too much to add a graphic and change that when you're putting those things out there. But to Matt's point, those QR codes are everywhere and people just automatically think, oh, it's almost like picking up a USB device and plugging it in, right? Oh, I found a USB device. I'm going to plug this thing in.
What's to your point, right? Somebody could just be crafty and post what ultimately does go to the restaurant's menu, but actually doing something bad on the way there.
Well, that's the thing. He does that. You still go to the menu, but it's picking up information. It's picking up data.
Amazing. Such a cool, simple technology that can be used for such bad.
So this is what George does now when he goes in. I want a paper menu.
Yeah, I've been doing that the whole time.
I know. See?
What's wrong with the paper menu?
No, I'm saying that avoids the QR code.
Absolutely. There'd be like, oh, the paper menu's like, in the back and it's a little moldy. But yes, I do ask for the paper menu. What's wrong with that?
I just said there's nothing wrong with it. It
Okay.
avoids the QR code.
Or you could be
Is
smarter
this
and
thing
you
on? Is
hold
this-
on.
is this thing on?
Or you pre-print the menu before you go. What do you think about that?
Sure.
Like, but then who has printers anymore?
I have one. It doesn't work that well.
Brent says, what's wrong? You're killing trees. Yeah, but when I plug this in, Brent, also killing trees. Power's got to come from somewhere, buddy. Speaking of which, coming back to my snowblower with the batteries. When you go into extreme cold or extreme heat on something battery powered, usually the battery fluctuates, right? Like it never holds the same charge. And now it starts to make sense on why all these electric cars don't do well in the Northeast or in the Southwest, right? In the desert, because especially in the cold, the battery actually takes a hit, right? Like 2 feet of snow, battery's taking a hit. Darren, you got one of those hybrid cars, right? Yeah, he has the no, he has that Mustang SUV.
He has the Mustang, the Mustang hybrid car, right? Electric. It's all electric, I think.
Yeah, I don't think it has a gas.
And
It's just
Darren
a
says,
battery.
yes, it does.
Yes, it does. No gas. Yep. So it dawns on me with all of these electric things now.
Hear what he say? I couldn't handle it.
You couldn't handle it.
That sounds like a challenge, Darren. I'll be up.
Oh, well, the question is, where is that car right now? Is it on the East
I'm going to
Coast
handle it. But remember, we have this all in writing and on a recording, so he can't report it stolen when I go up and take it. I can't take it. It's at the dealer for a recall. Go figure.
Well, that doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound good at all. I mean, car's not that old. One of the other ones, Ken, that came up in your community call last week was the shared. Here he says, at the dealer, recall on glass roof. The first replacement they broke. See what happens on the second. Oh, yes, less than ideal is right. That's the problem, like with some of these cars, by the way, right? Like our buddy Alec is like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get a Tesla for my next car. And I was like, the problem with Teslas are when they get into an accident, could be a fender bender, the parts aren't available.
Right.
Now all of a sudden it's sitting at the auto body for 6 months because they literally can't get.
And remember, I mean, like almost all cars, but especially in the Tesla, every fender bender is now affecting some sensor on your vehicle.
Yeah.
So it's not simple anymore.
Yeah. Like before you could drive without the bumper. Not good for you, but possible, right?
A scratch.
Yeah. Scratch. So that was one. The other one that came up in the sensor management is the new mechanic. So yes, it's all by the machine does the scanning, right? I mean, they plug it in and it tells you what it is. So last week on the community call, we had that one guy who said, hey, we're running into this problem where, and he had a real interesting quirk. He's like, during business hours or after business hours, I don't know why it mattered, but having a shared admin account, right, to all these Office 365 portals and having MFA turned on, right? In this case, he had, it called the number, right, out on their phone system, and like the person's not there. And we talked about VoIP. It really wasn't a VoIP problem, but I mean, Ken, imagine you're a team of 10. That's an easy number. 10 techs.
Right.
Could be more, could be less. Are you going to create 10 users in every single Office 365 account?
Well, no.
But that's what they're saying is like the right.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, listen, there's a lot of right ways, but there's also, will it still work? I mean, there was 1,000 different answers to that question, right? It kept going back and forth, and yeah, I wouldn't be able to create 10 users in every single account, especially with the number of seats we had at the time, right? Or accounts we had at the time. So No, I would have done it the way that they did it, and then the workarounds were quite simple, I mean, I think one of the ones was, well, can't you just set up groups? And when they're on, they're in that group. When they're not in that group, right? You just flip them in and out of that group. There was a lot of different ways to do it. From a phone system standpoint, I thought that was an even easier answer, right? There was,
like this guy, Darren was like, yeah, this problem's been solved, right? But I guess this guy had an older phone system that, people who are at the office, not at the office, on call, not on call. And it was a very interesting conversation that kind of sprawled. But Matt Lee did, and maybe we'll poke him, in a week or two, but he did say Microsoft was coming out with something soon, right? I forget the terminology.
Yeah, I think we were all kind of saying, being careful, because there's some things that can't be discussed yet and some things that can, and sometimes those get blended because you're on so many calls. So I agree with what they were saying. It wasn't just Tim too. There was someone else that sat on one of the boards and said, I'm not sure either if that was in a, confidential conversation or if that was in the open conversation of whether that's ready or not. So I would just say there's possibly something coming out that could fix it within Microsoft, which would be great, but I don't think it could be discussed any further until they clarified where that information was from, and if it was a legit just, oh yeah, open forum, this is something that's coming, or not.
So Brent says password management tools handle this. Password manager, TOTP shared with a group, not one user. This guy didn't have one of those.
Not yet. He was in between tools.
Yes. Yeah. In between tools. So,
which seems to be the norm now, right? People are doing the old tool, revamping their tools. Oh no, we won't say that.
I got you. Well, I mean, listen, if you were to pull all of the MSPs out there, and I know there's different varying sizes, types, maturity, and you ask them, is there a password manager in place at your end customer? I guess it's more popular internally, but let's say at the end customer, it's a really low percentage. Really low, like sub 25% low.
I had that poll question on every mission briefing we did, and it was low. And we also obviously had the same conversation about, well, when you're putting any tools at your customer's location, you should be installing those tools in-house first, right? We always talked about protect your house first, because it makes the conversation easier as well, but plus it's the right thing to do. Put them in place in-house. Your guys will know them, your team will know them, and you'll be running them. And then, so we had both questions, but the poll was very low. A lot of people were, and we didn't even allow them to say no. We said, do you have a password manager? Or I'm going to get a password manager. I'm looking at it, because we didn't want to say no. We were like, no, should not be an option. No, not at all. We're not going to have a password manager. That can't be the option.
Frank pops in and says like 0.
Yeah, I wouldn't say 0, but you're right. It's definitely a low number, and I think it's growing because of what's happened through COVID, through all this, the push and the security and how it's jumped, and also learning that the number was ridiculous. 95% of these things that have happened would have been stopped with MFA and a password management tool. Yeah. And then the only thing between those two is education, right? It was end user education. Between those three things, 95% of these things that have hit would have been stopped. But that stat alone should be increasing the need for password management.
Yeah. Well, it begs the question. All right, if the MSP doesn't have, usually a docs platform or a password manager are combined or separate, whatever. There has to be information somewhere, right? So that's number one, and hopefully not in an Excel spreadsheet somewhere, or sticky notes underneath your keyboard. Brent says cost to MSP for password manager is $1 per user. Problem is user adoption. People hate documenting this. Extra 40 seconds is unacceptable. It
I
is a
honestly,
problem.
though, as someone who's still an end user, right, I still use the products and still, I find password management to be easier because I have a manager that's managing these harder passwords, and I can, on my device, I can click a button and have my passwords populate. I'm not thinking about it anymore. From that standpoint, I don't see the difficulty. It's a lot easier to be able to do this. You're not really documenting, it's self-documenting. It's populating the passwords you want it to populate. It has a secure way for you to get around it if something happens, right? You're not completely locked out of it. For me, I think it's easier. Yeah, the initial start, the initial part, it's the move, it's the migration, I think, is the hardest part. Oh, okay, I got to get all my passwords out of Google or wherever the hell you're storing them, or if you are at all, or I got to take all these passwords and make new passwords because my password was password one.
Keith says it is about business process engineering, working security into the overall system and workflow integration you do for your customers. And then Brent comes in and says, can I agree? But user adoption is hard. You want the user to pay attention. Yes,
Yep,
everybody's still the biggest challenge we're all still trying to overcome is what's in between the chair and the keyboard, right?
Those stupid customers, they get in the way all the time.
Yeah, the chair and the
Yeah.
keyboard. Well, I mean, the problem is, and as it keeps on happening, right? If you use the same password everywhere, your
Right.
PayPal account, and your bank account, your Venmo, and then all of a sudden using it for your work email, and then all of a sudden, like, everything gets hit at once. Bad news there.
Credentials, that's where credential stuffing comes in, right? They get
Yeah.
one password at one location and then they pound the crap out of everything else until they hit. That's how it works. That's why that works.
Yeah.
I
Frank
know,
says,
Brent.
hold on, Frank says, I'm going in order. I use my key, but I have a lot of passwords. Users have far fewer. They even resent MFA, but use it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number one, how is my key, Frank? Obviously, you're using it. I haven't had a chance to take a look myself, but that, it's been out there for a little while. And then Ken says, teach me how to bypass the user. I like that idea.
No, Brent says that to me.
Brent says that. Yeah. So bypassing the user. Well, maybe if you go down to Zero Trust World, they're going to teach you how to do that. You just like plug the cord in, and they're going to teach you how to get past that whole problem. Wi-Fi, the password on your computer, and the person.
And I'll just say right now, I'm trying out LastPass, and so far so good. Looks decent.
All right, so let's ask a question though, Ken. So LastPass was a part of LogMeIn, is a part of LogMeIn, is in the process of separating from LogMeIn.
Yeah, it's in the. I think it's in the process of separating. I think it's already separated. To be, I don't know the full, but we made a conscious effort to switch from what we were using. I don't think there was a problem with it, but and now we're using LastPass. I'll tell you, the migration was easy. Pulling it all out of the old vault into the new was very simple. It was as simple as pulling a CSV and lining up the categories. And they actually have a documentation that shows you what the categories should look like in the old and the new, so you can, map it out properly. And I haven't had a problem with any of the ones that I've used so far. I'm waiting on some old one that I haven't touched in a while to see if it still has a problem. But
wasn't there some story like within the last 4 weeks that there was a LastPass breach, and then they came back and said that's not true?
Yeah,
like, what happened?
I did see that. So far it stands up that it wasn't true because there was no follow-up after they made that comment. Usually if they say it's not true, the accusing party comes back. There hasn't been anything back on that. So right now I'll chuck that up as a faulty report. From that standpoint, I did follow it because as soon as it happened was right around the time I was doing the transition. So I was like, but didn't see anything more about that. I mean, I'm not digging super deep into it now, but I haven't seen anything wrapped around that since that happened.
By the way, switching topics while we still have a few minutes left. Apparently it's been confirmed today that your boy is hanging up the cleats.
I told you. There's a payday on February 1. Oh, it's February 1. Huh. Come on.
I thought it was February 4th, but okay, who's checking?
So
Friday, but okay. Yeah, dude got his, what was it, $15 million final bonus payout?
Whatever it is, he retired. And here's the thing. Here's what you're going to see all over the internet if you haven't already seen it or on the news or whatever. where he didn't mention the Patriots fans or Bill Belichick or Kraft. I think that's because, listen, I think it's because clearly he's going to retire a Patriot and there'll be some big thing for that. Right now, he was just thanking the fans, the Bucs, the people he's playing with now, whatever. But that's what Patriots fans do. They get, cranky and start complaining about that part of it instead of what the guy did for us for all those years.
I mean, he's got to sign the 1-day contract.
Yes, of
he's
course.
He's going to retire Patriot.
Right, of course.
Belichick will be there.
So listen, that is what it is. It's like people get crazy. I get both sides of what people don't like and what people like. This, I'm a sports fan before I'm a team fan because I love the sports. I love the hockey, the football, the baseball, not so much basketball is kind of at the bottom of that list, but and I truly care about the sport itself first.
So let me ask a couple questions here. One, Gronkowski's going to roll out too.
Oh, he's done. Yeah. So Gronk had already said, I don't want to catch a football from anybody else.
Okay. So both jerseys that you got are gone. They're finished.
Right.
Yeah.
Retired.
So you can't keep on rolling around with Brady.
Well, I'm going to have to pick a new jersey and wait another 15 months for that to show up.
How about an Eagles jersey, Ken? Can I offer you one of those?
I don't know. I'm hearing this stories about this Russell Wilson Eagles jersey.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
It's very. Let me put it this way: the same people who gave me my insider sports information that I've given you over the earlier times, the people that are on the inside are very interested in this story.
Dude, they said that he still picked Howard Roseman, general manager of the Eagles, picked up the phone and still inquired about Deshaun Watson this week.
Well, he has to have a backup. He has to have a backup because there's going to be other teams. But I mean, the flip side is, do you really want an aging Russell Wilson right now? Or I don't know.
Is he 34 years old, I think?
Does he have the same, does he have the same fire and spark like Brady still carried? I don't know. If he does, then we don't know what you can get out of him. Apparently, Jalen Hurts can't read defenses, according to some people.
I saw the clip.
Yeah.
Keith Nelson says, I am unbiased, fair and balanced. I hear you.
Let's put it this way. He's so fair and unbalanced that I turn Facebook off during games because I just can't take how fair he is.
Yeah. Okay. And Brad comes back and says, no matter what the sport, it's very cool to see a human setting a new standard for others to aspire to. Listen,
true.
There's the infamous and the famous, right? You still get a similar effect. Many people would say that Tom Brady is infamous.
Oh, good Lord. The guy broke every record known to man, and it will not be touched in our lifetime. I don't care how young or how long you think you're going to live. You're never going to see the likes of Tom Brady again, period.
What about Joey B? He won a Heisman Trophy, and now he's going to be in the Super Bowl. And I was like, one other thing in less than 2 years.
Yeah, that's great, but he still doesn't have all this. You can do something. You can do something that nobody else has ever done by winning one trophy here, one trophy here, one trophy there. That, and it's cool. It doesn't match up to what Brady did. Brady's numbers are ridiculous.
Okay, so somebody wins. How many Super Bowls did he win? 7.
7. So
somebody goes and wins 8. What are you going to say?
Well, I'll say someone did it, but it's not happening. It just got proved. It just got proven. Look at KC. Mahomes is supposed to be that guy. What happened?
Andy Reid happened. That's what happened. Seen that story. Oh, I've seen that movie on repeat. Dude just doesn't know. At the end of those games that really matter, melts down a little bit. Keith says, was not a fan of Brady until the last few years when he became more candid. However, he is the greatest non-Cowboys quarterback not named Tim Tebow.
Cowboys quarterbacks. I mean, I remember Troy Aikman. Was there anybody after that?
I don't think so. Oh boy, we're in for the next time we roll in the SoCal. We're gonna get it.
Oh, we're definitely gonna get it. There's no question. But that's okay. Keith, I miss you, buddy.
Yep. Before the Cap America. Before that, Captain America.
Yeah, Captain America.
In the ice for 60 years.
Yeah.
All good. Well, hey, it was a fun show. By the way, this is what we do all the time. This just happens to be on camera. But a little bit less tech today, but we still got some good points in. Keep coming back Tuesdays, Thursdays, 1:00 Eastern time, online 24 hours a day, mspinitiative.com. We will see you back here. Hopefully we'll see you later on this month in Florida in like 3 weeks. We'd love to see everybody in person. Otherwise, stay safe, and we will catch you on the flip side. Take it easy, guys.